Welcome to the Rustic Garden. Today's October 26th. This is my third video talking about how I'm going to manage cool weather vegetables through the whole winter in this pop-up greenhouse. And today I want to talk about some of the things I'm going to do to try and keep the heat inside. And I just want to keep it above 32 degrees, and also talk a little bit about how I'm planting it. The left side is mostly done. Let me just show you a tip real quick. I'm bringing in some plants from out in my raised beds, and you can see right in there, that's a beet. I just took the beet right out of the ground, one that I didn't pick obviously and didn't eat it. And if you just drop it into the ground or into your container and you begin to water it, it will start growing leaves, and those leaves you can use in your salads. Last week I showed you, or last video, some of the transplants that I started, and these are all different cool weather vegetables, lettuces, chicory, Italian cress, a bunch of different things. I've taken the plugs out, planted a couple in here, and you can see that I'm not thinning them down to one plant. I'm just growing this for greens, and mostly kind of baby lettuces and baby greens. So I will just cut these back pretty hard. So I want a lot of different plants in there. The other thing is there's no need to just put one in here. If these tend to grow really well and they get too crowded, I can just thin them out later. But let them grow, 3, 4, 5, 6 different plants in there. You can always split them. You can always remove them later if you want. And like I said, I wanted to talk a little bit about the heating. This is bubble wrap that you use for packaging. And I started started lining the inside of my greenhouse, and you can see, basically how I set it up. That's going to create another layer, actually two, because the air will create one layer on one side and a layer on the other side, and then the plastic behind it. That's going to keep the heat inside more. At least that's the theory. I have at least another 7 days before the frost comes, so eventually I will put the bubble wrap right in here, and I will also put it in the front. And I might do the whole greenhouse, or actually just split this one in half. Here are some of the places that I've put the lettuce plugs, the arugula, red Mizuna mustard greens back there. I have some Batavian endive, 7-top, turnip green, is it turnips? I think it's turnips. Anyway, I'm not growing it for the root, I'm actually growing that for the greens, and it's a heirloom green. But they're all planted in there, and again, the whole plug went in with all the plants. I can always thin that later. So let me show you heating. One of the goals is to really pack in a lot of material in here so that the heat is absorbed into the soil. I have some bottles with water in it. The heat would go into there, one over there, and that's just to hold the day's heat. So when it gets into December here, late November, when the cold really comes, this will hold some heat and it will radiate it back. The main thing that I'm trying this year is a glass aquarium heater. This is only 25 watts. It's a low wattage aquarium heater. And if you go on the website to just different places that, give you information about electricity, you can type in 25 watts, having it on 24 hours for 30 days, and it tells you the cost. And the cost of this heater to run straight through for 30 days is only about $3. I've already turned it on. It gets really hot that you can't touch it. So the idea would be to sink it right in here. It is completely waterproof, totally submersible. It was only $9 off of eBay. That will keep this above 32 degrees. Remember, my goal is not to keep this at 60, 70 degrees where I'm growing warm weather plants. I'm growing cool weather plants that can take a frost. So we'll see how it goes. But I wanted to give you some of the ideas of how I'm going to try and keep this warm. And real quick, those are my French breakfast radishes. They're doing pretty well. This is a chicory endive, Catalona, I believe, emerald. These are seedlings from this plant. This plant I planted back in the spring, and it's a perennial actually in this area. So it started coming back, so I just moved it into this pot, and the seedlings that sprouted up around it I put down in here. So this is one side, and this is cilantro. So this is one side that is getting close to what I want to really keep the heat inside come later November. really December and stuff like that. So it's a bit of an experiment. I think by next year I will have, experimented enough that I can really make this work. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please check out my blog at www.therustedgarden.blogspot.com and also check out my YouTube videos. Thanks.